The Sahara Desert, a place defined by relentless sun, suffocating heat, and an ocean of dry sand. It is the definition of a furnace. But appearances on this planet are always deceiving. Strip away the dunes. Look at what lies buried beneath the surface of the modern world. Do you see these parallel scars? These are not cracks. They are striations carved by immense weight. Only one force in nature has the power to carve rock like this: moving ice. We are traveling back 440 million years. The furnace is dying. Welcome to North Africa. You are standing in the center of a continental ice sheet. This is the Ordovician Ice Age, a time when the hottest place on Earth was the coldest. How did a greenhouse paradise turn into an icebox? The answer lies in the movement of continents. To understand this catastrophe, we must look at the map. It is alien to modern eyes. The northern hemisphere is an empty ocean. The land has congregated in the south. Meet Gondwana, a supercontinent containing Africa, South America, Australia, and Antarctica, all fused together. Here is Africa. It is not sitting on the equator. It has drifted directly over the South Pole. Geography has set the trap. But the trigger for the freeze will come from thousands of miles away. We travel north, to the equator, to the ancient continent of Laurentia, the ancestor of North America. Here, a violent collision is taking place. The crust buckles. The Taconic Mountains are rising. These peaks are as high as the Himalayas today, but they are naked stone. There are no trees. Fresh rock is exposed to the atmosphere. Heavy rains begin to dissolve the silicate stone. It is a chemical heist. The weathering rock pulls carbon dioxide directly out of the atmosphere. On a global scale, the mountains act as a scrubber. They are stripping the planet's heat blanket. Carbon levels crash. The global thermostat breaks. The Earth begins to lose its heat to space. Back on Gondwana, the temperature drops. The first snows of winter do not melt in the spring. The ice takes hold. It begins to march outward, burying the landscape under miles of frozen water. The white death expands. It reflects the sun, cooling the Earth even further. A runaway freeze. The stage is set. The world is freezing. But the real tragedy is happening in the water. Before the ice, the Ordovician oceans were a paradise. Life was experimenting with wild, new forms. Coral reefs as we know them did not exist. These are sponge gardens, vibrant and alien. Sea lilies cover the floor. Animal forests that filter the water, thriving in the warm shallows. Trilobites scuttle across the seabed. They are the masters of this world, diverse and adaptable. But they are not the kings. There is a predator patrolling the water column above them. The Cameroceras, a shelled squid the size of a school bus. The apex predator of the Ordovician. It rules a water world that stretches from pole to pole. It has no idea that its realm is shrinking. As the glaciers grow on land, they steal water from the sea. Global sea levels begin to plummet. The shallow shelves, the home of almost all life, are drained dry. The habitat is vanishing. The water that remains is turning cold. The tropical paradise is being shocked by polar currents. The Sahara Glacier has reached the sea. The killing mechanism is locked in place. Darkness falls over the reef. The great Ordovician biodiversification event is over. Even the giants are not safe. There is nowhere to run. The world is closing in. This is the Hirnantian Glaciation, a geological blink of an eye that will wipe out 85% of species. Life is tenacious, but geology is indifferent. The planet has reset the board. And so the tropical sands of Algeria lie buried under 2 miles of crushing ice. But the ice would not last forever. Its retreat would cause a second wave of death. As the ice melts, it flushes toxic, oxygen-starved water back into the oceans. Those who survived the cold now suffocate in the heat. The silence of extinction. The water cools. Instinct takes over. A mass migration begins, fleeing the pole. The giants leave their hunting grounds, but the cold currents are faster than they are. The geography of Gondwana creates a trap. Cold currents encircle the continent, blocking the path north. Trapped in the shrinking shallows, the trilobites engage their final defense. Hibernation. They wait for a summer that will not come for 5 million years. The lid slams shut. The surface ocean freezes, cutting off the oxygen supply to the deep. Below the ice, the food chain collapses. The rain of nutrients from the surface stops. The animal forests of the Ordovician are felled, not by axes, but by starvation. We return to the surface. The ice sheet over Algeria is now 2 kilometers thick. This is not a temporary snow. This is a heavy, crushing weight that deforms the Earth's crust. The weight is so immense, it pushes the continental crust down into the mantle. Isostasy in action. Only the highest peaks of the Sahara Mountains pierce the white shroud. Islands in a frozen sea. The albedo effect is at its peak. The white ice reflects the sun, refusing to let the planet warm. At night, the southern lights dance over the Sahara, a spectacle witnessed by no living eyes. The glacier is a slow-motion grinder. It turns mountains into flour, creating the sands of the future. Mile after mile, for thousands of miles. The Sahara is a frozen twin of Antarctica. If you looked at Earth from space, you would not recognize it. It looks like Mars. But the clock of the solar system keeps ticking. The Earth's orbit wobbles. Summer returns. The surface of the ice sheet turns into a labyrinth of blue meltwater lakes. The water burrows down, lubricating the base of the glacier. The ice begins to slide. The dam breaks. Superfloods scour the landscape, carving the canyons we see today. The sea level shoots up. The dried-out continental shelves are flooded once again. But the water rising from the deep is a poison chalice. It is starved of oxygen. This is the second strike. The survivors of the cold are now suffocated by the heat and lack of air. The Ordovician world ends not with a bang, but with a gasp. 85% of marine species vanish. The slate is wiped clean. The oceans are empty. The experiment of the Ordovician is over. The ice has retreated, leaving behind a scarred, polished basement of rock. But the land is now wet and empty, ready for the next invasion. Time buries the evidence. The cycle of the Sahara begins. The continent moves north, toward the equator, toward the heat. The gray floor of the Ice Age becomes the foundation of the greatest desert on Earth. Today, we walk these sands, looking for clues. A cold water creature fossilized in the hottest place on the planet. A paradox written in stone. Fire and ice, two faces of the same coin. The heat we feel today is just a phase. The Earth is patient. The extinction leaves a layer of death on the ocean floor, a black, organic sludge. Billions of creatures, their bodies full of carbon, sealed in a tomb without oxygen. Rivers of sand bury the dead. The weight builds. The tomb becomes a pressure cooker. Heat and pressure work their alchemy. The organic matter is cooked. It transforms. The bodies of the Ordovician become oil. The life force of the past, distilled into liquid energy. Trapped beneath the cap rock, waiting. A vast reservoir of sunlight stored in darkness. 400 million years later, a new species walks the sand, listening for the echo. We drill down, piercing the seal. We are grave robbers seeking the energy of the dead. The Hassi Messaoud field, the Tigentarine. The engines of the modern world run on Ordovician ghosts. We burn the past to power the present, releasing the carbon captured by ancient seas. But the oil is hidden. The scars of the ice are visible to the naked eye. Welcome to the Tassili Najar, a stone forest that rises from the sands of Algeria. These are not wind-blown dunes. These are the skeletons of ancient riverbeds. When the ice sheet melted, superfloods tore through this land. Water carved the stone. The water vanished eons ago, but the shape of the flow remains frozen in time. This is sandstone, the debris left behind by the glaciers as they retreated. An army of stone soldiers, standing guard over a memory of ice. From the air, you see the veins of the continent, once pumping with water, now dry. The Tassili is a monument to the violence of the thaw, a cathedral carved by catastrophe. Under the stars, the desert is silent, but the rocks remember the roar of the water. Humans arrived much later. They painted their world on these glacial walls. They painted a green Sahara because the climate swung back. The pendulum never stops. They lived in the brief, wet interlude before the desert returned to claim the land. We are transients here, living in the gaps between the ice and the fire. Our civilization is built on a climate stability that is an exception, not the rule. We study the Ordovician to understand our future. The past is a mirror. We are now the volcanoes. We are releasing the carbon that ended the Ice Age. We are reversing the cooling, driving the planet back toward a hothouse state. The ice is retreating again. The water is rising again. The cycle accelerates. Look at the Sahara one last time. Do not see it as a void. See the layers of time, the ice sheet, the ocean, the forest, the desert. A frozen world lies beneath the burning sands, a reminder of what is possible. The earth changes. It freezes. It burns. It does not care if we are here to watch. We are just the current tenants, living on the roof of a buried world. Geology is destiny, and time is the only true master.